little children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war.
I forgot we had Lefebvre in the intro.
That's right.
Completely forgot about that. Well, on the nose.
A little bit, yeah.
Did you watch any of the consecrations?
I mean, I saw some of the clips of the storm, and I watched one of I think it was the American bishop speak a little, but no, I didn't really watch anything.
I got up at like 5:30 this morning, like I normally do. I was like, I'm going to check in, see what's going on, see if it's still on. It was still on. I think they were, at this point, finishing up the mass or something, or handing out, they're distributing communion or whatever. It's like, man, it's 5:30, and this thing started at like 1 my time.
That is great, yeah.
That was a long. It's been funny this week with the two big things happening. One being the Supreme Court decision on birthright citizenship, and then the SSPX, and the amount of people who believe that they are professional commentators and are canon lawyers and judicial lawyers. It's just been amazing. It just shows that people will just spout anything on the internet, and they just like it's like throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks. Like they just want to get somebody to hear what they're saying.
On the other hand, there are people that feel like someone in like my position needs to have an opinion, needs to give that opinion, and then when that opinion inevitably is slightly different than their opinion, attack you for the opinion they forced you to have. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, watching the SSPX stuff go on right now, it's been interesting to see the people who previously were very supportive of the SSPX and are now completely against them, right? For doing the same thing they did 38 years ago.
Yeah.
As well as the people who are emotionally invested in this. Like people who, for whatever reason, feel
especially
like
when they don't have a dog in the fight.
But I mean, I've got my opinions about the SSPX, but I don't go to a chapel, right? I don't have one in my state at all. All 6 million of them. And it's just the people, like they feel like it seems like they're offended at what happened. And like they've been talking about this for 2 years. Like we've been hearing rumblings about them doing the consecrations for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, now all of a sudden you all are like, did you think it wasn't going to happen? Like it has to happen. What, right or wrong, for the SSPX to continue, they have to have bishops, because otherwise no one will ordain their priests for them. No one will make sure that they can provide the sacraments, because whether you like it or not, if it weren't for the SSPX, we would not have any Ecclesia Dei communities whatsoever.
And I think a lot of people either have forgotten or never knew that honestly, like the SSPX wasn't even formed necessarily to provide the traditional sacraments to anyone. It was formed to give traditional formation to seminarians. That is why it was founded. You know, that the first couple seminarians came to Lefebvre more or less telling him like they're not being formed properly in the new, well, not the new seminaries, but the seminary, the usual seminaries, and begged him to form them instead. And that's how it all started. So like like you said, for the SSPX to fulfill its I don't want to say mission, but it's to fulfill the end, its end, like they do need to be able to ordain priests, because that's why it was formed.
Yeah, and this comment is interesting. There were very few diocesan Latin masses in the United States in the 80s at all. I think that there was less than, you could count them on one hand.
I happen to actually be raised in one of them.
And what the SSPX has provided is they are the sort of Damocles over Rome, to make sure Rome does not completely eradicate the Latin Mass. Because if there was no SSPX, Traditionis Custodes would have completely wiped out all of the Latin Mass. They would have not thought anything about it. Yeah. But with the threat that the SSPX may bring a chapel into your diocese, because if you notice, everywhere there's an FSSP parish, almost everywhere, not everywhere, it's not across the board, but almost everywhere, it's because there's an SSPX chapel there. Because that bishop would prefer people to go to a Latin Mass that he controls, so he allows the FSSP to go there. So it's just, people are unable to see the pattern and the sequence of events that have led us here. And again, like, I'm not, pro or con the consecrations. Like, I'm not, that's not my job. I don't have a dog in that fight. I go to the diocesan Latin Mass, but I recognize the only reason I have a Latin Mass is because of Summorum Pontificum, because our mass was started a couple years afterwards, and Summorum Pontificum, regardless of what Benedict says, was made with the SSPX in mind. And so we would not have the access to the Latin Mass we have now if it weren't. And on top of that, the SSPX is larger than all the Ecclesia Dei communities combined by itself. So if we're looking at the fruit of what they're doing and the fact that they are supposedly, they've been in schism, until 2008 or whatever it was, 2009 when the excommunications were lifted, or whatever, but they were growing faster than FSSP ever was. And all the Ecclesia Dei communities have not been able to eclipse the amount of people that they provide the sacraments to at all. And it's going to, I'm willing to bet that it's going to skyrocket even from here, because people are seeing the contrast of, well, we have this female dressing up as a bishop from England coming over and being able to see the Pope and bless clergy there in Rome, but you have faithful Catholics who just ask for bishops and they wouldn't give it to them. People see pride masses going on through all June, but the SSPX are not allowed to make sure that they're able to continue with the mass that we've had for 1,500 years.
No.
People, the average layman may not know about the SSPX, but when people see the news on secular news, they're seeing the contrast, and it doesn't make sense to them. And this is a PR nightmare for Rome right now. And you've got everybody coming out of the woodwork, making their comments and make sure everybody knows their opinion. But these are people who just found out about the SSPX like 3 minutes ago. And all of a sudden they've got an opinion about it. I mean, we still have bishops getting rid of the Latin Mass now, and Rome's not doing a thing about it. Now, I bet since the consecrations today, we're going to see something about the Latin Mass come out to encourage the bishops to allow them again.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's the only thing Rome can do to fight back. That's what Summorum Pontificum was all about. That was the effect anyway. of what happens tomorrow in particular. That's why we saw an explosion in Latin masses after 2008.
I mean, I have a feeling Rome could just kill most of the Ecclesia Dei and diocesan TLMs, and I think most of the people would just roll over.
Probably.
I mean, we've seen that in the diocese where they've done it.
Yep. Yeah. More than likely. It's just with the amount of craziness going on right now in the world, and we don't have Rome to anchor ourselves to right now because they're not willing to be the moral heavyweight we need them to be. It's no surprise to me that we have more people flocking to the SSPX, to Sedevacantism, to Eastern Orthodoxy. Like people are trying to find some type of foundation stone to attach themselves to because the world's moving so fast, and they need something that is eternal to attach themselves to. A church that is able to provide the moral guidance they need, and Rome's not doing it.
I do think the Eastern Orthodox thing is an illusion.
I do too,
for the most part.
I think it's drummed up as more just anti-Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're trying to, the algorithms and such are trying to be like the PR arm for Eastern Orthodoxy to make it look like, they're so much better than the Catholic Church because the world knows that the Catholic Church is the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is side character status.
Of all the Catholics I've heard go Eastern Orthodox, they've all, as far as I can recall, have been converts. You know what I mean? Like I think if a cradle Catholic went Eastern Orthodox, I think they would quickly recognize the same issues, right? The Orthodox in name only, cultural, orthodoxy of most of the long-term people that have been there. And
yeah, I mean, we have it here in Birmingham. We have a Melkite parish, is the Eastern Catholic parish. There's a lot of people there. They're Eastern Catholic in name only. That's just their ethnic heritage.
Yep.
Right. They're all Arabs there, pretty much, and that's just what you do. And because they're already a small sect of Birmingham anyway, they want to be around people that look like them, and so that's at that parish.
Which kind of leads us almost into our topic.
Yeah. I was not surprised that the Supreme Court ruled the way they did, especially after seeing they didn't put up any of the barriers like they have for previous controversial decisions.
I mean, there was no way Roberts and Barrett were going to rule any other way.
Well, I mean, we saw it coming with Barrett because she's adopted, 3 African children? 2
Haitian children, I think.
Yeah. So we knew which way that was going. But what I think this does is this accelerates the timeline.
I agree, 100%.
All illusions have been pulled at this point. People are now realizing that every lever of the government is being pulled to make sure that this country collapses.
Like on both sides now, there's no incentive to not go all out, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no incentive for the liberals to not try to get every single pregnant woman from across the globe into this country.
Yeah.
And there's no incentive for the other side to, initially to just ban all visas for women in general. Maybe that's.
At this point, the only actions that the government really has that have been upheld by the Supreme Court is on restricting immigration. And at this point, they're going to put rules in effect like if you're more than 10 weeks pregnant, you're not allowed to come here.
I think honestly it should be if you are capable of being pregnant and you're not American, you don't get to come to this country at all.
Yeah. And then you're going to see a lot of women who are you should see a lot of women who are of childbearing years being deported. Remigrated.
Yeah. Whether they're here currently legally or not.
Mm-hmm. And you're just going to have to split up families. You're going either they'll give them the choice like, hey, I know you're not legal, but your kid was a birthright citizen, right? They can either go with you, you can leave them here. But you're legal.
I think now we absolutely have to find some route. Yeah, I shouldn't say we, because I don't. Those who believe we can still somehow stay within the current political system we're in, they need to find some route to denaturalize citizens.
Well, there's already a process in place for that. To denaturalize citizens, there's been let me see if I can find it. But that's been in place for a while because it was done in the 20s. Let me see if I can find anything on it. But back in the 20s, when there was basically an immigration halt. That was back when we allowed the migrants from Mexico to come up and work the farms.
Yeah,
there was a big push at that time to stop that, especially as we were leading into seeing what was going on in Europe. Because prior to that, we had, on average, like 665,000 immigrants coming from Europe every year. And this was back when our population was like 12 million.
mm-hmm.
Right. So, and then it just, it kept increasing year after year after that. But back in the 20s, there was a huge push to get rid of a lot of these immigrants. Let's see if I can find it, but let's see. So, basically, the USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, can refer a case to the DOJ if someone is here a naturalized immigrant, not naturalized born, but naturalized immigrant, and if they have committed any civil or criminal proceedings, they can have their citizenship revoked and removed. But they basically had to be found guilty. Like, you can't do it just because you suspect someone, right? But being here illegally and then getting your citizenship, like, I feel like that's the precursor. Like, well, we already know you're here illegally, and then you got your citizenship, so you already broke a law, and we have proof of it because you got your citizenship. But then, like, at that point, how far does it go? Because Mamdani up in New York, he'd be the first one I'd get rid of.
I would say
show an example.
Pass a law stating that no American citizen can hold citizenship of another nation.
Okay.
And any that currently do are deported to the nation of their other citizenship.
Man, we're going to lose like half our Jews.
Yeah.
Where will
Only
we get
half?
credit cards from then, Rob?
You're gonna hate me for this, but the Knights of Columbus.
Oh man, we got rid of that. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, we created such an uproar they got rid of it. Yeah, man, that was such a bad decision. But anyway,
hold on. So Schmoot, where would you be sent to out of curiosity?
Schmoopy Loop, where are you going? Schmoopy Loop.
And I'm just saying, like, these are the sort of drastic laws that we are likely to at least see discussed.
That's
right?
not bad. Poland's fine.
You're not being sent to the subcontinent. I mean,
I know. It's not like you're going to Liberia. Croatia. Bye. See? It's still a great place.
You know how much I would love to spend time on the Dalmatian coast? Come on.
Like Crimea River. Oh, I have to go to a majority white civilization. Poor me.
Yeah. Adrian lives in Birmingham or near Birmingham. Come on.
I live out in the country for a reason.
I mean,
at this point,
it could be done like if America is this. Well, you guys, who knows? Maybe you moved it from Poland and Croatia, and you'd still be sent over. I know. So the Crow is the Croatian Hall. It's the big get together place in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
William, where you know a lot about Minnesota and about my hometown. I'm not sure where you're from. But he's right. The Crow, yeah. Where would I be without the Croatian Hall?
Well, so
Or the
here's
Polish National Alliance across the street
here-
in the basement of a house.
here's the other option. So this was something I was toying with when we had the immigrant trains coming up from Mexico, and I just kind of spitballing a lot of the stuff that would be send you to west of 65. Did you ever see the movie? Did you ever see was it Die Hard 4 with Samuel Jackson? Is it 3 or 4?
Where he's got the board on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 3.
Is that 3? Yeah. So that would be west of 65 in Birmingham. That's what would happen. But when we had those immigrant trains coming up from Mexico during the Biden era, I was, we're just spitballing some things with some people, and I was trying to come up with I was just trying to think like we got to have a compromise, because at that point, like, there was no way we had the goal in the United States to deport what we thought at the time was 20 million people. Right now we're like it's more like 50. But I was like, well, here, I was like, this was my solution, right? All the Mexicans basically that were here illegally, if they were working, construction, whatever, in order for them to stay here, there could be a process for them to stay here. The first thing would be they have to pay a minimum of 30% taxes for 10 years to back pay anything they didn't pay before. Because if I got to be taxed and you haven't been paying taxes for 30 years, you need to catch up. First one. Second one is you cannot vote, your children cannot vote, and your grandchildren cannot vote, but your great-grandchildren can.
And that's actually right in line with Aquinas.
Yeah.
That
don't worry, I pulled that up.
I think I have that pulled up too, actually.
But because it takes generations for you to assume the culture of the country you're living in, right? Which is why I don't care.
I knew shows during SSPX we weren't going to get any views.
I don't care. When have I ever cared? There's literally a dozen of you.
Not even yet. Not even. We're at 11.
Yeah. How many are on X? We just got William and talking about the Crow.
I have 54. You have 13.
See, that's not bad.
No,
we're creeping up on almost triple digits.
we are screwing Schmoop over hard. Can't vote. Going to get deported.
Look, and then third caveat is you have to join the military, and you can gain your rights to vote sooner, a la Starship Troopers. But you have to serve in the infantry.
I would say at least, you have to serve in an actual.
You can't be a box kicker. Can't be admin. You got to serve in the infantry. And then you can gain your rights to vote sooner. You got to put some skin in the game.
I would say
minimum 8 years.
One other caveat.
Exactly.
They would ideally have to at least initially live in a historically Hispanic area.
Like Texas?
Texas, basically in the Southwest.
Okay. I'll allow that. Bye, Schmoopy. I'll send you a postcard. Why can't you can join the military?
Yeah, trust me, you probably would much rather be in the American military than the Polish military with what Russia might end up doing.
So, Sean, the reason I say in the infantry is because you enculturate a whole lot faster when you're in a infantry line unit where basically the other guys in your platoon can bring you up to speed. We'll say there will be extracurricular activities that happen to make sure you get in line.
No, we wouldn't make Schmoop live in the Southwest.
No, you
come on,
live in like New York City or something.
No, yeah, he's Polish. He's got to live in Chicago.
Yeah, that's true. You got to live in Chicago.
Polish People's Army, as in the Communist Army.
Trying to tell us something there, Schmoop? You communist sympathizer?
Gonna have to go McCarthy on Schmoop.
He said yes. Well, at least you own up to it.
Honesty counts for something.
Just as long as you don't tell us like your grandfather was a tower guard at Auschwitz.
No, his uncle was something. What's the first name? Last name Jabinski. The Polish Jew who went and fought with the Lehi in Israel.
All right, so the list. I'm gonna let you. Why don't you go over the Thomas Aquinas principles on citizenship?
I guess first, do
Okay.
we want to? Neither of us obviously are philosophers.
I'm definitely not.
I did major in international relations in college, but I
A
did not
worthless
graduate.
Worthless
And
degree. Worthless degree.
right, 100%. Yep. But should you and I try to come to a definition of what a nation is?
Do you got one ready that you like?
I mean, kind of. So
Let's hear it.
nation comes. It has the same base, the same Latin base as like nativity, right? So it basically it comes from the base to be born. So a nation really is a group of people that all have common descent, common ancestry, and from that then would flow like common language, common culture, common food, common religion, all that sort of stuff. So that's a nation is a group of people all with that sort of common descent and common heritage. Whereas I think today a lot of people, when they say nation, they mean nation state, right? Which is a state based upon a nation. Whereas there are a lot of nations without states. The Basque, for instance, over in Spain and France, they're a nation, but they have no state. The
Even here in
Romani,
America?
Native Americans,
Yeah.
even though some of them do have technically sovereign states that can build casinos, but the Romani, the Gypsies, more or less, they're a nation without a state. So I think this birthright citizenship doesn't destroy the American state, right? It doesn't destroy America as a political unit, but I think it does destroy our ability to have an American nation. And on one hand, I think you could argue that maybe there has never truly been an American nation, that maybe America has been a polity of multiple smaller nations, whether each individual U.S. state maybe could be its own nation, or you could argue like the South could be a nation, or Appalachia could possibly be a nation. I don't know, but I think even if you don't define America historically as a whole as a nation, I think you could argue that this birthright citizenship is going to destroy every smaller nation within the American state.
It's definitely going to upend a lot of the culture we have here in the United States that is a derivative or a descendant of a really, I mean, we are really just Christendom Europe transplanted, right? So I have always said back in the 1800s, all the best Catholics left Europe and came to the United States, right? The Catholics who had the most adventurous spirit, the most desire for magnanimity, right? The capability of a more of a courageous spirit, and it depleted the gene pool in Europe, which then was depleted even more with World War I and World War II.
Yeah.
right? Because you there was a book I read a while ago. It's talking about the hero gene, right? And basically, the hero gene it self selects itself to be eradicated. Right? The heroes who will sacrifice themselves for people they don't know, right? And so that gene doesn't always have the capability of progressing on through procreation because those people tend to lose their life before they have the capability to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And which is probably why we're seeing, and it's not like the United States is immune to the effects of effeminacy, but I think they've had to incorporate much more drastic measures here to inculcate us in that. I'm using a lot of big words. Sorry.
Yeah. Watch out there, Tim Gordon.
I'll dumb it down. I think they've had to put a lot more strategies in place to get us to where we are on par with Europe through our food source, through our entertainment, through our technology, which then makes us lazy. And so and now that's spreading to the rest of the world from the United States because a lot of it originates here and then spreads from there because of capitalism. But and I think it's had a very great effect. I think they've almost got us to where they want us. But I also believe that because these people are atheists and they hate God, they don't understand the inclination or the human spirit that God gave us to seek truth and to seek the capability to honor him as best we can. Because some people they think they're honoring themselves by going to the gym all the time and eating clean and trying to raise themselves through their careers and make more money, and they think they're doing it for themselves, but they've created their own religion when they do that. And so they're trying to honor a God that they aren't even aware of. And we have a lot of that in the United States because it's taken longer for them to try and beat us down because we are such an event. We had so many people move here whose goal was to make a better life for themselves and their family. And they weren't willing to just accept the status quo and just accept whatever happens to them. They wanted to go out and make a better life. So we're at a point now where we've got at the genesis of our country was a lot of Europeans who came here, but now we've got a lot of third world countries coming here that have no desire for the common good. It's all about what
at least for the American common good.
Not even that for their
That's true. Yeah, I see.
So especially India, sub-Saharan Africa, there is no appreciation.
Their culture is all about doing whatever you need to improve your own good, or
at the expense of others.
At the
your own culture.
Of others.
Like the amount of death you will see in a lot of these third world countries where they just do not value life whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about it on here before with the condolence payments for accidentally killing Afghanis, and they would put their kids in danger so they get killed so they get paid more money, right? Or the amount of people like the Haitians and stuff who try and get over here on boats, and they'll throw their kids off the boat so they can try and get here faster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't care. There's no sanctity of life to these people, and it's not for lack of trying. Like we've tried to give them the Christian religion for hundreds of years, and it's just not sticking.
In areas in people's where it was Catholicism that was introduced, it largely has stuck. I mean, for instance, in India, the Goans, I don't know if Paul, for instance, is Goan, but but like the Goans in India, who were settled, colonized by the Portuguese, you know, they really do have a largely Catholic culture that we would, well, it's still obviously not European. It's obviously Goan. It's a lot more compatible, right, with European Christian cultures, whereas, you know, where the British colonized in India, they're still largely Muslim and Hindu, and you know, and the Christian communities that are there are Catholic communities from, you know, literally St. Francis Xavier in the 1500s. So I think in many cases, yeah, you're right. You know, many of these cultures where Protestant missionaries went, it largely didn't stick. But you know, for instance, I mean, in the Americas, you know, you have the French and Indian Métis culture, which is largely Catholic, whereas how many American Indian tribes, you know, these days are hardly anything, like not even their own religion, let alone any sort of Christianity.
The only evangelization that stuck with any Native American tribes was the Catholic religion.
Yeah.
That was it. Like anytime, because the Protestants were so heavy-handed. It was convert or die, pretty much. It was basically white Islam for a lot of these people, and not all of them. All right, so I'm not trying to, you know, put a blanket over the whole thing, but a lot of times, I mean, all the stories that, because growing up in Kentucky, my family have you know, a little bit of Blackfeet Indian in us, right? This is up north, but in Kentucky, especially, there's a lot of Cherokee, and the stories I would hear from these old Cherokee men and like you could still see the scars on their hands and on their backs and such from going to some of these Protestant conversion schools.
Mm-hmm.
And the abuse they took, and the fact that they didn't hate them for that shows the charity in their heart that God gave them to not hang on to that.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to look at the situation where a lot of these third world countries, even after, you know, hundreds of years of trying to evangelize them, they just don't have the mental capacity to operate in any type of civilized society, which is why they're still tribal, living in mud huts and, you know, flinging poo at each other.
Do you so would you personally say that there is, or at least was some sort of unified like American nation?
I think prior to the 80s, when America was 90% white, yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see an argument for it, but at the same time, like, you know, and maybe this has become more stark since, I don't know, it's hard to say, right? Because like in 100 years ago, 150 years ago, you know, I think you could argue, for instance, like the Union and the Confederacy in the Civil War. I think you really could argue that those really were two separate nations, right? That they really were two separate cultures, largely two separate peoples. You know, the North largely were of English descent. The South was largely of, you know, Scott-Irish descent, at least in some areas. Obviously, there a lot of the planters maybe were of English origin, but there were definitely two different cultures, largely two different religions. The North was largely like, what's it called? Congregationalist, whereas the South was largely Anglican.
But but there was enough that was in common.
Yeah, there was.
They still had a culture. There's a few things they deviated from, right? So like even in the Appalachians, where it's mostly Scotch Irish, you still have people. And to be honest with you, that's probably one of the few areas in America that hasn't really been touched by immigration, just because it's inhospitable to live there.
What area?
The Appalachians, like the mountains of West Virginia down through Kentucky into Tennessee and up through Pennsylvania. And that's not a desirable place to live.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that have basically plotted out their land there and created their enclaves, that it's still mostly untouched.
Were you ever a big Firefly fan?
A little bit.
So the crazy space barbarians, the Reavers,
the Reapers, whatever it was.
Reavers. Do you know where they got that name from?
No.
So there were a group of Scottish clans along the border between England and Scotland that were called the Reaver clans, and they would basically raid both Scottish and English land and territory for centuries, and they became known as the Reavers. And then when England went to try to pacify Ireland, they also wanted to pacify the border with Scotland, so they moved all the Reaver clans over into like Ulster. So that's how you like the Northern Irish largely are Scottish Reavers.
Mm-hmm.
And then when colonization to America opened up, England was like, well, let's get these people a little bit further away and move them all to America. And most of the Appalachians were settled by these Reaver clans that have been causing issues over in England and Scotland for hundreds of years.
It's interesting you bring that up, because a long time ago, back when I was a Lowell Libertarian, there was I can't remember her name. She was a constitutional lawyer, but she would give a lecture on where sheriffs came from, because her theory was, as long as we had good sheriffs, that was the last line from the federal government impeding on a county, right? As long as you had a strong sheriff, right? So her goal was to get strong sheriffs everywhere. But she was talking about the etymology of sheriff and where it comes from. And it actually comes from shire reeves, right? So shire chieftains, pretty much, or village chieftains.
Right, because in England, they didn't have... So like in France, you have counties ruled by counts.
Mm-hmm.
In England, you have you have Yorkshire, Oxfordshire, these shires, like you said, ruled by sheriffs, basically an English count.
Right. So I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting piece of information I never heard of before, because that was back in the day, like where the Oath Keepers were big, right, and the Constitutional Sheriffs Association and all that.
Oh yeah.
But so do we want to get into the Thomas Aquinas?
Yes.
You got something pulled up for that? Or you want me to do mine?
Well, I guess first, so we can talk about what Aquinas says about citizenship, but I don't know if before or after, but at some point we should talk about like what rights a nation itself has.
So, did you ever used to listen to Trad Patrick?
I think I listened to one of his shows, and then he insulted my wife at some point. So then,
how did he insult your wife?
It was on Twitter, back when he was on Twitter.
Golly, man.
It was like in 2020 or 2021.
That was like right before he just disappeared. He was like the old man Nick Fuentes. He's like a traditional Catholic old man Nick Fuentes. But where was I going with that?
I don't.
I try to,
The rights of nations.
Okay. So he had that show called Rights and Duties, right? And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. We keep talking about how we have rights.
Yeah.
Like you have the Bill of Rights, right? We have a right, to the pursuit of happiness, all that right. But I was trying to. I think I remember, and guys, remember, I'm not a theologian. Like
we're not theologians. We're not philosophers.
So, I'm trying to, I'm remembering things that have.
I think, although you do have a college degree,
I do have a college degree. So,
yeah,
if a dumb Marine can get a college degree, so can you.
This show has officially one more degree than. Wait, no. Because you have both a high school diploma and a college diploma. This show has two more degrees. Oh, just like Anthony.
I got a GED, yeah.
Okay, this show officially has one more degree than avoiding Babylon.
But so there was a couple of things he would bring up a lot is how we keep talking about our rights, but we don't have rights. God has rights. We have duties to God, right? Now we have things that through natural law, through injustice, we have
the rights to fulfill those duties.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not in the way that it's used in common parlance now. It's, well, I have a right to, as if that can't be impeded on.
I guess we just need this guy to do the show.
Yeah, just come on. You just start on with
That's perfect.
I'll just take a back seat. I'll just listen. But that's not the way it's used now. It's used as if our rights are what's the term? Sacrosanct.
Yeah.
Right. They're almost like sacraments.
Right.
Right.
Or that they're inherent.
Yeah. And it also boils into authority.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like with the founding of the United States, where these United States, that the authority of our government was derived from the people, which is inverted from where their authority really comes from, and it comes from God.
Yeah.
Right? So even with rights, we have inverted it and we have perverted it into something that it is not. Now it's not to say that we can't use the terms in the way everyone else is, but we especially as Catholics need to properly understand what we're talking about. Because if you don't have a good understanding of it, then you risk going down that same road as Protestants and atheists trying to impose their capability of doing whatever they want because they have a right to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or another issue is like the difference between liberty and licity, right? We'll get into that in a minute. I'll get into, but anyway. All right. So what do you got? So where you want to go on?
So, for instance, in the Israel debate, right?
Yeah.
One side argues that Israel has a right to exist. The other side argues against that. Now, I think. So first off, a nation, as properly defined, does have a right to exist, right? A state,
if it can defend itself.
No. A state, sure, but a nation, no. Like so for instance,
we're going back to the definition we used at the beginning, not the common colloquial reference of
correct.
Nation.
Yeah, right. I'm making it a. Okay. I'm making a distinction between nation and state. A nation, like a person, once a person exists, they have a right to exist, right?
Yeah.
It not so much in like obvious not being immortal, but like you cannot deprive a person unjustly of their existence. Right. The same can be said of a nation. You can't deprive a nation unjustly of its existence. To do so would be genocide. A state, though, a state obviously is different. A a political entity has no right to continue to exist as a political entity, right? So if a state declares war on you and you beat them in that war
Mm.
and destroy that state, that was just, you didn't violate any sort of right, but you can't wipe that nation
Right.
off the map. That nation, that people still has a right to exist.
Yep.
So I think that's one of the ways the debate with Israel is confused is, when we say that the state of Israel does not have a right to exist, we are not saying that the Jewish people does not have a right to exist as a people.
Right.
We're saying that the state of Israel does not have a right to exist. And also, not every nation has a right to a state.
Right.
So we're not saying the Jewish people shouldn't exist. We're saying that maybe Israel shouldn't exist, and that the Jews don't necessarily have a right to a political state named Israel, or any political state necessarily.
Right. Well,
because
and if we're using the example of Israel was taken away from the Jews.
yes,
They no longer have a birthright to it.
right,
They have a right to exist, like you said, and they have to, and we
Yep.
need them to, to fulfill the end times.
Mhm.
But like you said, the state of Israel does not have a right to exist unless it can protect itself. And I would even go so far as to say the state of Israel was fraudulently founded,
yes,
and it was stolen. If we want to talk about stolen land, it was stolen from the nation of people that lived there.
and now they are working to destroy the
Right.
actual they've removed the state from that nation, and now they are working to actually destroy that nation itself.
And I can tell you from conversations I've had with these people is no one hates an Ashkenazi Jew more than a Sephardic Jew, especially a Sephardic Jew that's from Palestine.
You're not Sephardic, Mizrahi. Sephardic Jews are like Spanish Jews.
Right. But there
Right.
was Sephardic Jews that lived in Palestine prior to 1947.
No, those are Mizrahi Jews.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Correct.
okay.
They moved.
You're
they
saying
moved
they were
back.
both Mizrahi and Sephardic
Yes.
Jews. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because so a lot. I won't say a lot. I will say a good number of Orthodox Jews do not believe the state of Israel should exist either,
Yes, that's true.
because they recognize that that land was taken from them as well.
Yeah.
Which is where we get into the issue with dispensationalism, and really the only reason that Israel exists is because of dispensationalists. If it weren't for the support of America after World War II, the state of Israel would not exist. And the only reason that the state of Israel continues to exist, two reasons, is through American really unilateral control of the world for a period of almost 60
Unipolar.
years.
Yeah.
Unipolar. Sorry, thanks. I told you I'm a Marine. Words are hard. And blackmail. That's really the only reason that Israel exists.
Epstein wasn't the first Epstein, guys.
No, he was not. And he's not the last. Someone replaced Epstein.
Yeah, they don't just get rid of that without a
No.
replacement.
Look, think of Epstein as your you'd appreciate this, Ocean, as your local plug, right? He's providing you with your street pharmaceuticals, and your local plug gets snatched up, taken to prison. The desire for what he sold does not go away. Someone has to replace him. So someone replaced Epstein. We just don't know who that person is yet.
I never thought we'd be talking about how Epstein is like a drug dealer.
First of all, never threatened to do that, Ocean. Second of all, that's like 75% of women, man. So it's just not look good for you.
Here's the thing: a woman may have more intelligence than you, but that doesn't mean she's capable of outsmarting you. Women have a lot of emotion and irrationality
Yeah,
that
they're
get
really
in the
clouds
way of any intelligence that they have.
They can. Absolutely.
One other right I would say a nation has, and this is not going to be in, once again, this is not in the common usage, but a nation has a right to self-determination. Now, in common usage, right, that idea was the genesis of like nationalism, where suddenly all these nations of people thought they had rights to states. For instance, Italy, the Italian peoples ended up being convinced by the Masons that they had a right to an overall Italian state. The German peoples, were convinced by Prussia that they had the right to a German state instead of a Holy Roman Empire, so on and so forth. And they used the word self-determination for that. But when I say self-determination, I mean that a nation has the right to determine on their own who has membership in their nation. You know what I mean? Like, it's another, like a governmental entity can't tell a people that a governmental entity doesn't get to decide who is and is not like a nation. Right. So the UN or even our own government, like this birthright citizenship, a person might be a citizen of the state that controls the United States, but that government can't force these people into whatever nation or nations we may have. Mm-hmm. Even if a person doesn't say America as a whole is a nation, someone from the U.S. government can't tell you that someone fresh off the boat from India suddenly is a Southerner. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You guys get to decide who is and is not a Southerner, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really just comes down to your assimilation to the culture you're going to. Mm-hmm. Right. Because we got Asians down here that have a thicker accent than I do.
And right? Yeah. And are uber Baptist and super racist and cook really good fried food,
especially the Koreans. So if anything that the black folk gave to the Koreans was fried chicken, and the Koreans just made it better. I don't know if you've ever had Korean fried chicken, but
I have not, but I would try it.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, well, which is like E. Michael Jones keeps bringing up this theory, and he keeps spouting it that if a Kenyan moves to Ireland and learns to speak language and is there for 20 years, well, now he's Irish. And that's just so repugnant to common sense that I don't this is my problem with smart people who know they're smart, right? They think that everything that comes out of their mouth is an idea that no one else has heard before. And that they've thought through every angle of it, so they can't possibly be any holes in it whatsoever, right? And EMJ is one of those guys. Yeah. Dude's super smart in some things. But between that and the church, especially after Vatican II and his blinders with that, he's extremely dumb and just unwilling. I won't say he's dumb. He has cognitive dissonance. He is unwilling to accept the facts that will change his opinion.
He is a boomer.
Well, and then that's a whole other thing.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Apparently, I get into trouble when I call certain people boomers on the show, even when it's just a fact. And then Anthony's got to apologize to a bunch of so-called men who feel like they need a white knight or a boomer woman.
Look, I know we don't have any women that watch the show, But if you're willing to go toe to toe with a man, be willing to be treated like a man's going to treat another man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, and which is a big pet peeve of mine. I have when these movies come out, right? And there's like a 115-pound girl, and she's like beating up all these 250-pound men. Like, that's like being hit by a child.
It really is.
It's so, but 30 years of these movies coming out now have emboldened women to think that they're just a smarter man. Like, they're just like men, they're just smarter than us, right? And so they think they can do everything that a man can. So when they get smacked in the face by a man, and they realize how much strength is behind a man, that's about the only time they change their opinion, right? But it unfortunately has to come to that point with some women, which it shouldn't, right? Like my girls, right? I've got 3 girls, and when I wrestle with them, right, they try to wrestle with me anyway, and they realize like how strong I am.
Mm-hmm.
My girls have a healthy opinion of the hurt that a man can do just by roughhousing with me, right? I got 2 of my girls like to hang around my feet and let me drag them around the house, and they'll just like slide the whole time because we got wood floors. And so then I'll get on the ground and like, all right, now you pull me, and like they can't even move a centimeter, right? They can't. It's not even close, right? And so that helps give them that idea, that understanding of the disparity in strength. Not only that, but the capacity for violence that men have. Women, for whatever reason, have believed the lies that they can affect violence on the same level as a man can.
And it is orders of magnitude less.
Not only that,
I
but
don't think most men even realize, most modern men realize the level of disparity.
No, which is why it's probably why some men who end up hitting a woman will hurt them far more than they intended to, because they don't understand how. On top of that, women are not psychologically prepared for the violence that anybody can do. Some men are not, right?
Yeah.
Especially men who grew up in a city and they don't know where their food comes from, and they've never been in a fight, which unfortunately is a lot of men who've never been in a fight, never been punched in the face or anything. They're not psychologically able to process the violence that men are capable of at all. And I used to find out in the Marines all the time when we would do just like sparring sessions, guys would fold after the first punch because they weren't prepared to deal with it. And then we'd have to make them get up and like, no, you're going to keep going until you give it back as good as you're getting it. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, they figure it out. And it takes training to get to there, because a lot of these young men were not raised with fathers of any type of masculine capability. A man who knows violence is going to be the most gentle man you know.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he's capable of, and he doesn't want to risk using that unless he absolutely has to.
If he has any sort of virtue at all.
Yeah. But if you have impulse control issues, you're going to have a hard time. You're probably going to prison. So, let's put it out there. So I want to read through this portion on the St. Thomas Aquinas that I found. And this is really just a AI summary. And I hate that I'm using AI, but it actually did a good job. So St. Thomas Aquinas argues that citizenship is a privilege tied to the common good and requires deep integration, not automatic conferral upon arrival. And then it references the Summa. So he distinguishes basically between simple citizenship, rights like voting, and restricted citizenship, which would be like residency. And he's basically saying that full political rights are usually held for those whose commitment to the nation's common good is established. Like they've shown some skin in the game. Pretty much, they're paying taxes, they own property, they have businesses, they have raised families there who have married into other families. Like they have a desire to see their local and greater nation do better because they want to provide more and better environment for their family. Now, this was also back when people actually cared about their family.
True.
And unfortunately, we had a generation that it would cause a huge cataclysm in that. And they just don't care about their families, especially their kids. But we're seeing with millennials, some late Gen X, a lot of millennials, and going into Gen Z, a very far swing on the pendulum the other way, where they value their family more than anything, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? But you shouldn't neglect your duty to other people. You shouldn't neglect your duty to people outside your family in priority to. I don't know how I'm trying to say this. You still have a duty to the people around you that aren't part of your family, right? Because you all live in the same community.
Yeah. Aquinas at some point says that if foreigners were admitted to the affairs of the nation as soon as they arrived, since foreigners not yet having the common good firmly at heart might attempt something hurtful to the people. And I think we see that very, very drastically with things like Somali fraud, H-1B abuse, things of that nature, where the Somalis, even though many of them are second generation, they still do not yet have like the common good of the American nation,
right,
firmly planted in their heart. So they do a lot of stuff that is harmful to the common good.
Yeah. Which is also a reason why he says it should be 2 to 3 generations before someone is really embedded in the culture and is desiring its common good. Because it takes that long. And we see it all through scripture. Like it takes multiple generations for something to stick.
Yeah.
Right? Which, not to bring it back to the SSPX, but I'm going to anyway. It has been almost 2 generations since Vatican II.
Yes,
we're
we're
starting to see the narrative around Vatican II start to collapse, because a lot of the spirit of Vatican II was not based in truth, and eventually truth wins out, which is probably why there's such a huge push to just try and do Vatican II harder. Like we got to do even better. Right? Vatican II has never been tried before.
Yeah.
And it's just not sticking because there are issues with the way it was promulgated and then the surrounding implementation of it that was contrary to the truth that was received prior to it.
Mm-hmm.
So another one I liked was the exceptions for virtue. So he was saying the rules are not rigid. Individuals could be granted citizenship earlier through dispensation for extraordinary acts of virtue or service, which goes to my, serving the military example, right? If you serve the military and you fight in, war against an enemy of the United States, I'm willing to give you citizenship earlier than 2 or 3 generations. Like you've kind of earned it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another one goes in. Aquinas notes that the nations have the right to exclude those deemed hostile or harmful to the community, while ensuring peaceful strangers and travelers are treated with charity and justice. With the World Cup going on right now, I don't know if you're watching any of these videos, but just the massive amount of videos of Europeans put it on social media, shocked at what America's actually like.
Right.
They're shocked, especially when they go to a lot of these small towns And it's because most Europeans when they come here, they go to all the big cities, Los Angeles, San Diego, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, whatever, right? Philadelphia. But when they go to these small towns, they get to meet actual Americans, right? And who have a culture, right? And especially when they get into like rural Texas, they're really shocked. But when they come here, and as Aquinas says, they're peaceful strangers, they are given a preference above those that have come here illegally and who still have priority for their previous nation. Right? So a lot of illegal immigrants come to like LA and still fly the Mexican flag. They got to go. Right?
Hold on. Schmoop's about to tell us he still flies the Polish flag.
Oh, they were just waiting for it. the communist Polish flag. Look, if the Europeans learn anything from us, it should be the fact that you should have AC. There is no reason you should have 1,300 people die from a 88-degree heat wave.
Hold on. It is way more than 1,300. I think
in France it was 1,300.
Okay, and hold on. Let me find it real quick. I
saw a stat that said more people die from heat waves in Europe than we have gun deaths.
Oh, it's multiple times more. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I bookmarked this on Twitter. Give me a second. If not, it sucks because I was even thinking of sending it to you.
Yeah.
I didn't bookmark it. It was a graph that. So I think no AC, no free water, no free. Yeah. No ice and drinks.
No, they don't do ice and drinks.
I know.
Free refills. They're shocked.
Yep. In restaurants there, you have to ask them to bring you the bill. They'll never just bring you the bill. They'll let you sit there for hours drinking warm drinks and no AC.
That's not working.
Idiots. But I didn't find it. But I saw a graph, and it showed the number of American gun homicides, right, which is about 15,000 a year. And that number varies, of course, but 15 to 30,000 at the absolute maximum. Whereas the number of heat deaths in Europe in the average year, I think, was like 60,000. And then the number of deaths from diarrhea in India was like hundreds of thousands. But for instance, the medical malpractice in the U.S., 250,000 deaths a year.
When I was just talking about this with a client earlier, actually. When I was a firefighter paramedic, and we were bringing patients to the hospital.
Taffy, you're a genius.
He's always on it. But from September through December at the hospital, when we would bring patients there, it was called the killing season. Because that's when new doctors would be assigned to hospitals, and they were responsible for more hospital-related deaths, the new doctors were, than anything else in the hospital. Like there was you had like a 400% higher chance of dying just because of a new doctor taking care of you. 176,000?
Yeah. Yep. So now this is a little different. So this includes all gun deaths, which right off the bat, half of those are suicide. And then of the homicides, it's something like 90% of the homicides are black gang violence, right? But still, even total number of deaths, including suicides, is the rates per people 14 per 100,000 people, whereas in Europe 40 per 100,000 people will die of heat.
Bro, we need just to get them air conditioning.
And I like how they're like, our buildings are sold. They didn't have central air put in. They're not designed for central air. Dude, have you ever heard of window ACs, portable ACs?
Our poorest people have air conditioning.
Yes.
What are we doing? We just need to conquer Europe and give them air conditioning. They would greet us.
I think every American needs to sponsor a European to give, and save money where at the end of a year they can buy that European an air conditioner.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what a swamp heater is, or a swamp cooler? Actually, did you mean a swamp cooler? Past KCS. I hate that name, by the way. You got to change that.
Now, how fancy, like how fancy are we talking here? Because I've seen some where you got a cooler where you got ice in it, and then in that ice you got you have basically a closed system where it pumps water through copper coil, a copper coil in the ice, pumps it up to a fan on top that has that copper coil in front of it, and it just keeps doing that. Yeah.
In very humid areas, works great.
Actually, a very good point.
That is true. That is true. That's why. Now, how many of them froze to death from not having heat from no Russian oil?
Oh, that's a good question. Europe annual excess mortality attributed cold. Europe annual excess mortality attributed to cold.
That's a good question. I don't even know if their cars have AC.
Oh my gosh. So you know how the number for heat was 176,000?
Yeah.
The number for cold, 204,000.
That's like 400,000 people almost a year in Europe who die from
improper heat or cold.
We just need to liberate them and give them central heating and air, and they will greet us.
This isn't even that far off, believe it or not. And it is sad. And I mean, obviously, there are people in the U.S. who die from not having heat when they should and not having AC when they should too. Like, it does exist here too, but
yeah,
I guess we're not so stubborn about it.
That's usually elderly people.
Yes.
Who are on a fixed income and they don't want to pay for the extra power, so they think they just can tough it out, or they don't have AC. Like, there's a lot of times in Kentucky growing up, my dad would go around to all the old folks around our neighborhood and buy them fans in the summers, like just little box fans, little $20 box fans, because they would not use their AC because it was too expensive. They thought it was too expensive. It wasn't worth it. So he'd get them a box fan and open up some windows just to we wouldn't have to walk by a house and see them sitting in the chair decomposing.
Up where I'm at, we don't. There's no like natural gas pipelines up here. In most cities in the U.S., obviously,
use oil.
Yeah, so up here you either have a big propane tank outside your house, or you have a fuel oil tank inside your house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like natural gas where you pay the utility every month and the gas just keeps coming. Like,
right,
they've in the last decade or two they've begun doing like annual payment plans where you pay approximately the same every month, but a lot of people don't do that, so they run out of fuel oil and they got to buy 100 gallons of fuel oil or 100 gallons of propane. It's not a monthly bill of $200-300. It's 100 gallons or more, depending on the size of your tank, can run you $1,000.
It's like $10 a gallon.
It's I mean, it's not that much, but some of the tanks are like 300-gallon tanks, and like propane, that could reach you. That could reach you $1,000. And the company might not be able to get out to you to deliver it right then, or you might just have gotten a blizzard. And if they can't reach your tank, they can't deliver it. You know what I mean? So like, if an elderly person on fixed income runs out, they might not be able to get it filled in a few days. And up here, when it's a -40, that will kill you pretty quick.
I would see a situation like that would be a good opportunity for like a parish to look at their 65 and older population, which is some of these parishes probably 100%. Just going through like, hey, we've got a couple people going to come around, check on all these people, right? In like August, right? and make sure, hey, where you at on fuel for the year, right? And or for the winter, because y'all's winter can last into May,
It's generally, it could easily be October through May.
but just go around check on these people. That'd be we're just so isolated now that we don't even know our own neighbors, and there's no desire until crisis. Because when crisis hits, most often people in the United States anyway will do the right thing and help out their neighbors. Yeah. We especially see it in the South, and I know up in the Midwest they can as well. Northeast might be a little bit harder, but they would normally, when a crisis happens, they will help out their neighbors. But prior to that crisis happening, there's no desire to even know who your neighbors are. And this is the isolation that has basically been the product of the automobile and of constant moving for jobs and chasing a higher income among your children, so then they're not even in the same community as you anymore. And it's hard to not look at all this stuff and not think and it may not be a human design. It's more than likely a diabolic design, but it looks like it was designed for it to end up this way. Just the way things keep playing out.
What is this in regard to?
He just washed.
I'm not sure.
Bro, you need to get thermals and go out there, even if you just got a little 22.
Yep.
Get a thermal scope, go out there with a little 22, take care of that thing. Yeah, the invention of AC in the South is why you're starting to see the South's population increase. Because like in the 60s, really before AC really took off, like the population down here was very small. But now when they got AC everywhere, you're starting to see the population skyrocket. A lot of people want to move down here now because of it. But in the event that we have some type of power outage or brownouts, you're going to have a whole lot of people trying to move out of here. They're not going to be able to handle it. Like even now, I was talking to a client today, and we were talking about her power bills, because I'm trying to get an idea of like what her expenses are and everything. She's going, I pay, she's got like a 2,500 square foot house. She's like, I pay about $150 a month. I was like, all right, that's it. A 2,500 square foot house. It's an older house, so it's not like it's got great insulation. I was like, that's it. And I was like, well, what do you keep your AC on? She's like, I don't know, probably like 78. 78? Like, you're cooking. What are we doing?
You want to know what mine's set to right now?
I don't want to know, because it's probably 70 degrees outside.
It is currently 74 outside right now.
It's close.
I have it set to 66.
There you go. Like throughout the day, ours is usually 72, 73.
Yeah.
And then at night, I put it down to about 68, 69, because I got to have it cold when I go to sleep. But man, I could not survive very well down here. I would be a grumpy person if I didn't have AC.
What?
So
you're Polish and you keep it to 80? Are you nuts?
So the grandparents at 80, right? Keep it on 80. That's because they're on blood thinners and they're cold all the time.
They're cold all the time.
So they need it hot. That's why plus your grandparents are black. They're not used to the cold weather. Unless you're adopted, then it's the blood thinners. I mean, maybe. I mean, there is
but
a
66
difference.
is better.
Yeah, like 70. Although if you can get used to 80, your power bill is probably pretty nice. You're probably paying half what I'm paying. So, what did I say? That's any different than what I've been saying all night. Like I have a hard, like I have leather seats in my car, and I have a hard time getting in the car sometimes, because especially if I'm wearing shorts, it'll burn the snot out of me.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Southern Jason.
Jason is Southern.
He is. He's from Texas, isn't
Yeah.
he? So as far as like the birthright citizenship thing goes, we'll get back on topic a little bit. Project out 10 years from now. Where do you see things going?
In general, or
Just downstream of this decision.
I think some point significantly before then, like within the next 5 years, I think things turn violent between people wanting to keep foreigners out and foreigners wanting to get in and stay in. You know, like I think I think both sides are going to turn violent.
Do you think that timeline would coincide with a change in admin of the 2028 election? Because you know, if the Democrats come in, those immigrant trains are just marching across the border.
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, if things go to the I don't want to say liberals because both sides are liberal, but if things go to the leftists in the next election, the next national election, then yeah, I think we will have obviously a flood of immigrants like we didn't even see under Biden. And those who don't want that will, I think, especially those who really don't have a Christian sense of morality will turn to violence to stop it. And I think in some sense, some of it could be justified. For instance, like some of what we were seeing in Belfast, is a citizen damaging property that is paid for by their taxes, actually destroying someone else's property? You know what I mean? Like if
they're destroying like
subsidized housing projects are damaged to the point where no one wants to live in them, is that damage caused by a citizen really damage to someone else's property?
See, I think that the line is so grayed there because our taxes go to so much garbage now.
Yeah,
you could write, you'd have a case to say you're the rightful owner of a lot. I mean, I could say I'm the rightful owner of a mile of internet or Interstate 20 out here.
Yeah, it's so hard. Yeah. At what point does the government, does the state become at what point do they no longer have authority, like legitimate authority? I don't know the answer to that.
Well,
it did sound that way, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is like all the scholastic theologians were rather against like rebellion, right? But but they also still recognize that there are times when it is just when a government does lose legitimate authority,
right?
But I don't want to be the American who says the government's lost because the will of the people is no longer being represented by the government, therefore it's not legitimate. No, as Catholics, we don't believe the government gets its legitimacy from the will of the people. It gets it from God. So at what point does it lose its legitimacy from God? And honestly, we're probably long past that since the government, you know, slaughters children in the womb. Like I have to imagine.
Or even a more recent example, when we find out that our vote doesn't count and that entire elections are stolen from us. Like in 2020. Like I don't know if you've been keeping up with the amount of information coming out about that, but we are like that entire election was fraudulent.
Right, but in a Catholic worldview, does that actually delegitimize a government?
Well, if the government you live under is under the auspices that you have a vote for the person that is put in power above you, right? And if you find out that a majority of the people don't even count your vote, right? Or they assign your vote to a different selection, at that point, I would say that person's illegitimately in power. And that just might be the Americanism in me speaking, right? But that's the only thing I can really wrap my head around it.
Yeah,
because I'm not as educated as some other guys, right?
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think though we could I would say that a government loses its authority when it no longer even attempts to work for the common good. In which case, that's been a long time, right?
We are way past that. So then it comes down to, well, then who has authority? Someone has to have authority. Like, are we just down to where your only authority is over what you own? So to go back to my example we did a while ago about at what point is violence, allowable?
I would say we would have to take, the Catholic notion of subsidiarity into effect. So if the federal government no longer works for the common good of the American people and it's illegitimate, then let's go down to state governments. Does your state government work towards the good of the common people? If yes, then it has legitimacy, I would say.
Okay.
And if not, then you got to go further down. County government, city governments. And I think it's probably at the county level where, even like in Minnesota, the Minnesota state government works for the good of Somalians. It does not work for the common good of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. But I would say of our 88 counties, probably 78, 79 of them probably do. Mm-hmm. But how do we practically put principles like that into effect in the modern world?
I don't think we can. It's so nebulous that I don't think there's really any practical way to exercise any of that, just because there's so many competing forces involved. For example, like in my county, our seat, is 20 miles south of me pretty much. My county's okay, right? I know my city. I know my little town. I know the mayor that we elected works in the common good of the people. Like, he's a very good mayor. I know him personally, and he's very good. Past him, though, like, I don't know, maybe, right? But but it's not like he's going to be the guy who sends the police to reinforce me if the feds come to my house,
right?
And they're trying to pick me up because I said some nasty things on the internet. Now the sheriff might, but our sheriff's he's a big old boy. He's not doing anything. He might send some guys to do something, but he's not doing anything. But I don't. That's the issue we're in. I think it's going to have to come down to a crisis is going to have to happen, and people are just going to have to work within what limits they think they're allowed to work in.
Yeah.
Right. Without delving into committing some type of sin. Right. And we're just going to have to wait for everything to just slowly collapse to get to that point, because no one's coming to save us.
I agree. I mean, and that's kind of the conclusion I've come to. I think many of us see a collapse coming, whether it's going to be soon or
I think
later.
I think that it's slowly collapsing now.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to take
We are
decades.
in a collapse.
Yeah, it's taking decades to get there, and it's real. And what I see it with is there's a collapse in expertise, right? So we don't have people who maintain the infrastructure that have the expertise to do it anymore. So you're going to start seeing, especially like the grid, start to have some issues here soon, especially in the South because Rust is tearing everything up.
Dude, Polish commies, dude. Polish commies. I will admit, I did just order 500 rounds of 7.62 by 39 to shoot through the AK for some fun.
See, the ban on Russian imports is lifted.
Good, because let me tell you, that 7.62 was way more expensive than the 5.7 even.
Yeah.
Way more expensive.
That's why I got rid of my AK because the 7.62 is more expensive than the 5.56.
Well, that I understand, but more expensive than the 5.7. Are you?
But I used to buy 1,000 rounds of 7.62 for $100. It was crazy cheap. Yeah, the ban got lifted this week.
He's so excited right now.
He can't wait. Can't wait to get him some Russian bear ammo.
I mean, that's at the same time though. I don't think there's a lot of spare 7.62 right now for Russia to sell.
You might be able to get some from like Estonia or Albania or something, right? But
yeah, but Estonia wasn't under the block, were they?
I think they were.
Were they?
I think like all of Europe pretty much was.
Oh. It's you're a meme at this point, sir. But you know what? It's okay.
Look, you're the reason we have stereotypes.
You know what? Like one thing, the whole tactical side of gun Twitter and gun YouTube, like the one thing that annoys me is like, you know what? It's okay for guns to be fun.
Yeah. Look, like there's been an argument lately, like Lucas Botkin started it about FRTs, right? And he's like, there's really no reason other than fun to have an FRT, a force reset trigger.
Like, yeah, that's
pretty much true. Like, but buy one because they're fun.
Because they're fun.
There's nothing like blowing $100 of ammunition in 10 seconds. Like you'll only.
You're right. There's very few kicking the balls like that one.
You'll only do it once. That's why I say if you're going to get an FRT, it needs to be in a 22, right? Because then you're cutting your cost down substantially. See, lever actions are fun. I want a government 4570, just so I can say I'm ready for when the Tyrannosaurus Rexes are cloned.
There is something about a lever action 4570, right? Like,
I have a lever action 3030.
Me too. Yeah,
fun.
It is fun.
It's fun to shoot.
I have a lever in 44 Magnum too. It's fun to shoot, but
but if you're gonna buy something, especially a gun, make sure it's fun first. It doesn't matter if it's practical. It doesn't matter if it's economical. If you're not going to have fun with it, there's no reason to buy it.
Clipping this to show the wife the next time I need a gun.
There was an old meme. They were talking about when they banned. They were like talking about banning guns, and we were going to have to go back to having what the
founders intended.
Yeah,
tally ho!
He's like, after I blow a golf ball sized hole in the first guy,
I charge those rapscallions with my bayonet,
and I climb the stairs and I load the grape shot into my cannon.
And the last one bleeds out because you cannot stitch up a triangular bayonet wound.
You cannot. Actually, that's why it's a war crime.
Yeah, well, the Germans try to make shotguns a war crime too, but suck it, Germans.
Yeah, my favorite comment is from what's his name, Clint something from Thunder Ranch. Have you ever heard him talk about like the difference between like 9mm and rifles and shotguns?
Off the top of my head. Yeah. Pistols are when you blah blah blah. Rifles are when you want to shoot
pistols are when you want to put holes in people. Rifles are when you want to put holes through people.
Shotguns
are when you want to put a fist-sized hole in someone and have that hunk of shit thrown on
Hit
the
the floor.
ground.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, if you've never seen, like, especially some of these like PDX rounds, the self-defense shotgun rounds, and really all it is a slug with like 3 or 4 30 caliber size bearings. Like, it will tear some stuff up.
That reminds me, I need to take the M4 out to shoot.
Just have fun. It's all
Just
it's
have
about,
fun.
man. Just have fun. Look, first of all, first rule of GunTube is always look cool.
It's so true.
Second rule, have fun, man. Just have fun.
Third rule, very, very, very closely related to the first rule. Don't wear skinny jeans.
That is also true.
Lucas, if you ever watch this. I agree. This channel does need more people, but it needs more of the right people.
Bro,
Oh,
Tremors is a documentary.
I love Burt Gummer.
Yeah.
Love him.
Tremors is not a movie, it's a documentary. No.
I
You
don't
could
think
take
so,
out a
actually.
substation easily with about 5 or 6 rounds of 5.56. It's been proven in North Carolina, in California, in Washington State, by Antifa specifically. It is not hard.
Oh, I could quote so many of his lines.
That's such a good movie, man. Such a good movie.
Tremors, I think 2 is my favorite.
Really? The original is always the best.
Yeah.
Look, Ocean, I've told
2
you
was
this
the first
before.
one I saw.
I don't like. I'm just here to hang out. Like I do. This is just fun for me. If y'all want to hang on and hang out with me, I'm good with it. It's just about having fun, man.
I am going to cut us off at 2 hours tonight. We're not
Y'all
going
better
to
get your questions in. We only got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He's cutting
Any
you off.
questions?
He is cutting you off. Golly, I've had the weirdest people follow me on X lately.
Because of the SSPX stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. This one's their name on X is Girl with the German Shepherd. Back in my
Interesting.
Marine days, I would have thought about that in the wrong way.
Adrian. Why?
Man, people are still going wild about the SSPX.
Have we changed our opinion of the Charlie Kirk shooting?
Based on what? All the TPUSA stuff coming out?
My opinion, I guess, which first off, this is like what I said at the beginning of the episode. People demand your opinion even when you don't really have one. So you formulate one. They jump down your throat the second it's different than theirs. So I guess my real opinion is that I don't know. I don't have access to all the evidence I would need to actually come to a good opinion. But if you want me to have an opinion, I would say I've not seen any evidence that makes a certain story more likely than the official story. I'm not saying the official story is likely, but I haven't seen a better one necessarily.
I think based on what's happened since Charlie Kirk, that I think there is almost there. It is irresponsible to believe any narrative other than he was killed by a state actor in order to be able to invade Iran. Because he was the biggest voice close to Trump telling him not to invade Iran. And then within months afterwards, we invade Iran.
I have no problem believing that there was some sort of state level conspiracy behind it. but I don't see anything, for instance, that makes me think like his microphone had some sort of small charge in it. Like, I I I still think it's very possible he was shot with a 30-06 like they said he was. Not necessarily even by Tyler Robinson necessarily, but I don't know. I just haven't seen any evidence that really shows it.
I think Israel convinced Trump that Iran would be a lot easier than what it was. And when it turned out to not be as easy as they said it was, he decided to start doing negotiations. And they have information he does not want to be released on him, keeping him from completely just withdrawing. Because Trump for years, like since 2013, has said over and over again, there is no reason for us to go to war with Iran.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we go to war with Iran. So I think he was told, hey, this will be easy. This will be easy win for you. This will look good for the midterms. And when it wasn't as quick and easy as he thought it was going to be, we're 110 days into this now, when it was supposed to last 2 weeks at most, 2 weeks to, shorten the oil curve. That now he's having buyer's remorse. And he's trying to figure out a way out of it without that information being released on him. He's got Trump syndrome. Like he likes Trump or he's anti-Trump. Because at this point, I'm pretty much anti-Trump.
Yeah.
Like how many promises can you go back on before you start losing people?
What is Treacher Collins? Hold on. Why does that sound familiar?
Did you ever watch the show Nip Tuck?
Yes.
So there was an episode there
Unfortunately.
where he goes to a coffee bar and he meets a guy with Treacher Collins
Oh yeah.
and offers to fix him for free. Tim Gordon has been the biggest disappointment in the last year for me because I've liked him
Besides
for a long
Trump?
time. But I know because I kind of expected that of Trump.
Sure.
He's a political figure and he's a businessman. He's going to do whatever makes him the most money. But Tim Gordon's been a disappointment because he's gotten to the point where all of his revenue comes from clicks. So at this point, he's just chasing clicks and he's compromising himself to do it. He's basically just a Temu J. Dyer at this point. And it's sad to see. He's really just doing whatever he can to get more people to watch his stuff. But that's what happens when your entire capability of providing for your family comes from content you create.
Yeah.
And he's doing what he has to do to take care of his family, and he's unfortunately seemingly compromising himself in some ways to do that.
And even worse, he's made himself completely unhireable in any other sort of position.
Oh yeah. Did you watch any of the Taylor Marshall today?
Mm-mm.
Man, he went hard at the SSPX.
Did he?
10 toes down, man. He was it, which is I get it. Like at least he had a lot of evidence about it, and his position is logically sound. I get it, but for a man who benefited from the SSPX so much, and he was so willing to publicly turn on them like that.
I don't know if you can say he turned on them. I mean, he did, benefit from them having a mask available during COVID.
Yeah, but he didn't have to say anything. He could have just hey, this is sad that this happened, and that he could have left it at that. But he was almost angry in the video. today. Like he was on the verge of, being angry. And he did benefit from the SSPX, right? Because he had no problem with the consecrations in 1988, right? And he actually was justifying them. Even in today's show, he was justifying them. But today's was a step too far when the church is obviously worse than it was in 1988.
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I would say in the hierarchy, definitely. I would say so. But I think at lower levels, things have improved in many ways since then. But I would say, as far as Rome and stuff, yeah, I would say things are worse now than they were in '88.
But the Catholic Church is dominated by the hierarchy.
Yeah, definitely.
So if there will be no grassroots uprising of anything, because the hierarchy will just snuff it out like they did with Traditionis Custodes.
Yeah.
They saw the Latin Mass getting popular. It scared them because it completely refutes their Vatican II spirit, right? And so they crushed it.
Yep. Yeah, there sure are a lot of them.
Which is, if we're, because I've talked about this, we've talked about this before, but I think 2029 is the year. I think 2029 is the year where things go off the rails. It just too many things leading up to that. I mean, 2033 might be like the tail end of it, right? It might last like 4 years because that's, supposedly the 2,000 year anniversary,
right,
of the crucifixion, but it's probably closer to like 2028. But I think 2029 is going to be a huge year for just chaos going on. It's a year out. That's the January 2029 is when the new president will be sworn in, and I think things are just going to go off the rails.
What do you think of the storms that came over the Mass today? Do you take it as a sign?
I don't put any stock in it.
If we were to take that as a sign, and most people who are mentioning it take it as a sign that it's bad, then if we take that same logic, you would have to say that Vatican I then was bad.
Yeah.
Because as we explored in our Vatican I episode on Avoiding Babylon, there was a huge storm and lightning hit the Vatican and all of that during, I forget exactly what part of Vatican I, but during a very pivotal moment of Vatican I. So if we apply it to there, then
we got to be consistent.
Then the old Catholics are right, I guess.
Yeah, we got to be consistent. Or as well, when the lightning struck the statue of St. Peter in the Keys, and what was that, like Spain or something?
Yeah, I forget.
Right during the Francis pontificate. I don't put any stock in it. I'm not a pagan, right? So, like the weather is not giving us omens.
If God wanted to really signal something, he is rather known for signaling it in far grander ways, like making the sun dance for 70,000 people to see.
This is a good point because I want to bring up what I see as a man who owns a farm. I welcome the rain because it helps my grass grow, and my cows eat grass, and they turn grass into beef and milk. So I like it when it rains. So why are we looking at rain as a bad sign?
What did the augurs see in the raven's liver?
Toss the bones. Tell me what they say.
Oh man,
bro. There's no. We're a week out from it now, but I'll bring it up now because he's probably not watching. So Mike Pantile was in town a week ago, and so I kidnapped him and brought him to my house. And we hung out at my house for a little bit. And I introduced him.
For those who don't know, kidnapping Canadians is not against the law.
It is not, because they're not real people.
That's
and I brought him to my house. And I introduced him to raw milk for the first time. Apparently, he's lactose intolerant and didn't tell me till after he drank it.
How did he tolerate it?
Yeah, he's fine.
Well, I
No
mean,
issue.
okay, so no issues at all.
No issues at all.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But that, like, my wife is lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
But that's the reason we have dairy cows.
Yeah.
Because she can drink that milk without any problem. Right. Otherwise, I would just buy milk. So, like, I don't have a whatever. I'm not a person that thinks raw milk is going to make me superhuman.
But raw milk, like when milk isn't pasteurized,
Right.
in other words, when it's not heated to like, what is it, like 180, 190 degrees, something like that.
Yeah.
It contains the lactase enzyme within it to help you process the lactose.
Yeah.
Whereas when you pasteurize it, you get rid of that enzyme that processes the lactose sugar. So then your body has to process all of it.
Yep. Yeah. So so he came over and had some raw milk for the first time. Showed him around the place. Let him shoot my 300 blackout suppressed. I thought I had given him some subsonic rounds. I did not. It was still soft though. I'm like, it's still a lot softer than normal rounds. Let him shoot my CZ. He enjoyed it. And now I'm trying to convince him to move to Alabama. So he liked it. He liked he went and visited EW10 and all that, but trying to get him to come back down here, go to the shrine of the Most Blessed Sacrament where Mother Angelica is buried.
Nice.
If you've never been there, it's gorgeous.
I have not.
You should make a trip one day. Come down there just to spend like a few days there. But it's gorgeous there. She bought that property because it's a peninsula basically, and a river wraps around the property.
Okay.
And the reason she bought that property, and the reason I know this is because I know the producer of her show at the time, who's now a real estate agent. But she bought that property. She bought it in 1999 because a little bit prior to that, actually, a few years prior to that. But she bought it because she was afraid of the Y2K bug and she thought the world was going to end with the Y2K bug. So she wanted an area they could defend against whatever.
She was a prepper. I didn't even know it.
Look, man.
Mother Angelica was a Y2K prepper. It's
awesome. In our blood. We can't help it. But yeah, I was like, that's insane and true all at the same time.
That's something Anthony's mom has in common with Mother Angelica.
Yeah. I introduced him to the the 1993 rant she did about the World Youth Day.
Yeah.
He'd never seen it before, so I showed it to
him.
Really? Yeah, he made a comment on X like the next day about it. But,
that's right, he did. I remember that.
Yeah. Because that's the first time we ever saw it. I was like, this thing's like 30 minutes long. Like, you got to watch it. We're only gonna watch like 8 minutes of it, so you got to watch the rest of it. It's 30 minutes long. But yeah. All right, guys, we are at 2 hours, and Rob is dying.
What? I have to
from tiredness, not from cancer. Rob does not have cancer.
It's a good thing there's only, hold on, how many? 19 people watching. Otherwise, if Anthony had said that on the main channel, the number of people. One thing you realize when you start to do this is you realize how poorly people actually listen. Like the number of comments, like, I can't believe you guys said that. What? Nowhere did I ever say that at all.
It's almost like it was recorded and you can go back and listen to it to see if I actually said that.
or like 3 days later, someone will ask, well, why did you say this? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know if I said that. I don't remember that. Like, I say a lot of things.
My wife makes fun of me all the time for things I say. And it's usually for like the weird way I say a word one time.
Oh,
and I'm still hearing it like 18 years later.
Every time I say roof, button, anything, my Hope just looks at me. Roof? I'm like, yeah, that's how I said it. Shut up.
Well, she's from Florida though, isn't she?
No, she's from Minnesota.
Oh, she's from Minnesota. Okay.
Oh yeah. She
doesn't say the same way you do.
Apparently, I pronounce words differently than everyone.
Do you say creek or crick?
I definitely don't say crick.
Because that's a Midwest thing.
Crick?
Crick, yeah.
My grandpa
Definitely,
did.
especially everybody I know that says that is either from Michigan or Ohio.
No, I definitely say creek, but we don't have many creeks.
What does this say?
My husband says
Minorities? Minorities?
minorities.
Minorities?
Minorities? No, that's just Jews with the minorities.
Yeah. Minorities.
No, I say
3,000
I
years
say
ago.
creek. It would. We should go. I don't know why we would spend a whole episode doing this, but it would be fun. The New York Times has a dialect test where it asks you like 40 different words and how you say it, and then
Yeah.
it shows what part of the country that fits your dialect better. It'd be interesting to like compare you, me, and Anthony even.
Well, I mean, Anthony's very obvious.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no guesswork on that one.
I bet Ocean's sitting there right now, working really hard trying to say ask. But he's ask. No,
The S is before the K. The S is before the K. Quit asking me that. I did not get to mass today. What's today? Wednesday? It wasn't a lat mass anyway. I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah. Is it pop or soda? It's pop.
It's Coke.
Coke is Coke.
Correct. Coke is Coke.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
No.
Yes.
So is no.
No. See. Now you're just being a nominalist.
And,
You're saying there are no universal forms. Everything just whatever you want to call it.
Right. So it's Coke. Or
Coke.
What kind of Coke you want? Oh, give me a Sprite.
No. The answers are cherry, diet, zero, vanilla.
You know what cracks my wife up? We'll go to a restaurant. Yeah. Like what I'll have like a Coke a week. I don't really drink it that often, but I will only drink Coke. And I'll go there and I'll ask, like, what do you want?
Kind of Coke?
Like, what do you want? I was like, I'll have a Coke. Like, we only have Pepsi. Okay, I'll have water. Like, I won't even touch a Pepsi product.
See, I'm
not these lips.
I prefer Pepsi.
Oh no, Pepsi's for black people.
That's what. See,
Ocean,
I think it's
Ocean,
the opposite.
Do you know why black people like Pepsi?
Well, it is. It's definitely got a more sweet palate, especially initially.
It is definitely,
or especially on the finish.
In fact, the best Coke is from McDonald's.
Yeah, everyone says that. It is hot dish, unless it's tuna. Then it's a tuna casserole. But it's a tuna casserole hot dish. If that makes any sense. People from Minnesota will know.
That is not.
What?
A tuna casserole hot dish.
Yeah.
It's
tuna
like
casserole.
It's like saying ATM machine.
Or a hot water heater.
I mean, I don't have a cold water heater.
Yeah, you do.
No.
Your water heater.
It doesn't give me cold water when it heats it.
But it heats cold water.
Yeah, but it's not cold when it comes out.
When you say the Minnesota salad, are you talking like a 7-layer salad, a Snickers salad?
Fruit salad.
I mean, they're all salads.
Do you put like marshmallows in your fruit salad?
Some fruit salads have it. Snickers salads usually have it.
It's like a different country up there.
See, exactly. There are multiple nations within the U.S.
And we're all the way back to the beginning.
All the way back.
We circled all the way back.
My favorite salad is definitely potato salad.
Potato salad?
But now the question is, what kind of potato salad?
German potato salad.
That's what. Yep. Yeah.
That is
I don't like potato salads that have a lot of mustard in them.
No?
No, I'm not a big mustard guy.
Oh man, I like a good like roast beef on rye with mustard and Swiss cheese.
No.
Have you seen the woman on Instagram?
No, dude, it's tater hot dish.
What do you call a crock pot?
Well, either a crock pot or a slow cooker. But slow cooker.
But isn't that technically a hot dish? Mr. Cold Water Heater.
No, but you can make a hot dish in a crock pot.
But can you make a cold dish in a crock pot?
I mean, you could probably make a Snicker salad in one, yeah.
Why would you in a crock pot?
In case you didn't have another bowl.
You don't have other bowls?
I'm just saying you could. You asked if you could.
Do I need to send you some bowls? We got plenty of them down here.
Now, have you ever had Minnesota sushi?
I don't even want to know what that is.
You take a dill pickle, right?
Okay.
And you basically wrap the dill pickle in maybe like mayo or some other ranch potentially. You then wrap it in like a piece of ham. And then you cut it into slices. So you have those sushi rolls with pickle wrapped in ham.
I'd eat that.
Yeah, it's not bad. Cream cheese, yeah, that's what it is.
Have you ever had fried pickles?
Yes. They're all right.
Down here, we had a restaurant called, actually in Louisville, we had a restaurant So we had a restaurant in Louisville called Jenny's Diner, and they were known for three things. They were known for their frickled pickles, fried pickles.
Okay.
They were known for their soft drinks were always flat. Like you knew every time you got it, it was going to be flat. And then they were known for their Sweet Daddy burger. And there were... And so their Sweet Daddy burger was 1.5 pounds of ground beef, right? It was like 8 patties with 1 pound of American cheese on 2 buns. It was like 2.5 pounds of sandwich. And if you could eat it all, you didn't have to pay for it. And that only happened like once a year. I did it one time and I couldn't eat for like 3 days. I was the most miserable I've ever been in my life. I just laid in bed and just like tried to go to sleep just to try and get the time to pass.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Never do an eating challenge. That's not worth it.
Okay. We got to actually end this now. I promised the kids we would go for a bike ride.
All right.
Okay.
I'll see y'all later.
Yep. See you guys.
I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be, and bombs trying to take my life away. I put a